Coach Newvine will be starting his 34th year of coaching this fall. Coach Newvine has coached in the Mount Pleasant, Saginaw, Grosse Pointe, Chippewa Valley, and Macomb, Dakota football programs as head coach and assistant. He has been part of 3 state championship football teams. He has coached 17 All-State players and has had 3 players in the East-West All-Star football game. Coach Newvine's comments on why coach. First, you have to love competition. Second, to have an impact on young people's lives. Third, you have to love being around them and seeing them follow their dreams. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member of the Hall of Fame, Coach Robert D. Bud Newvine.
Thanks, Jack. That was real nice. He got me on the phone when we got this in December, and he says, you got 5 minutes to cover 33 years of coaching. I said, well, I can get that done. So we started on this a couple months ago doing this. I want to thank the Coaches Association for selecting me for this great honor. I'd like to congratulate the new inductees and their families. I know how it is for wives, girlfriends. My girlfriend's not here tonight. We were hoping she could make it, but she was taking some classes that she had to be at. I graduated from St. Stephen's in Saginaw, which is now Saginaw New Bell. And in 1977, I had 2 coaches that I had in my life. That one was a Hall of Fame coach inducted last year, and that's Tim Levasseur out of Bangor, John Glenn. He was my 8th grade coach, and when I was in 7th grade, he put me. I was a playing center, and he put me at fullback, and he gave me 54 as a fullback my 8th grade year. And I thought I was going to be another center. He says, "No, you got to wear that because you're 135 pounds, and we got nothing, big enough, so you're going to have to wear 54." And he was a great influence on my life. Another one was Ron Berenza, who was my JV coach at St. Stephen's. He played for Michigan State. He was a tight end behind Billy Joe Dupree. You can see he probably not got a lot of playing time. But he was a great influence on my life. I teach in elementary school where the schedule for us is a little bit different than the high school, and I want to thank some people that have to adjust their schedule. I'm in physical education, and we have science, music, and art. And these 4 people I'd like to introduce. Mary Thompson, if they'd stand up, Sean Mallory, Jennifer Ciccone, and her husband Chuck, John Rose, our principal, and his wife Betsy Rose, they please stand. Without them, I don't get over to Dakota at 2:15. So it's with their help I get there. My prep's at the end of the day, and my principal does a great job setting that up. My football family started out coaching in Saginaw, and moved on down to University of Liggett. I get to the interview and find out there's no football team. So I had to find out a way to get some players out for football, it being a tennis school. And our AD, Bob Wood, who's won 25 state championships before he retired a couple of years ago and moved to Texas, says, well, you got to get a football team together. So we got 40 kids, we got some boys out. It was a school of about 270 kids. We had about 45 in the science room after school that spring, and I ended up with 17. So we played with 17, played a JV schedule, and we started the program. We had some wonderful people. I had a gentleman by the name of Mr. Ralph Wilson, who was the owner of the Buffalo Bills. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame a few years ago, who was my mentor. He basically said, well, we're going to go this way. We're going to let you use the facilities in Buffalo. Your first week of practice, you can take them to Rich Stadium, work out with a few of the players that were in preseason. There's Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas and Bruce Smith, and they got these guys and took my high school kids and ran them up the steps, and I thought they were going to die. But it was a great experience for us, and he would let us go there every year for the first week conditioning, and I want to thank him for that. I want to thank the people at University of Liggett. There was Bob Wood, the athletic director I mentioned. Jim Glovac, he was here tonight, was my line coach. John Bandos, who couldn't make it tonight. At Chippewa Valley was Bob Schroeder, who's in the Hall of Fame. Mike Carver, who will be in the Hall of Fame soon enough. We won a state championship together, Division II, beating Jensen at the Silver Dome in 2001. Moving on to Macomb, Dakota. I love being at this place. This next gentleman I want to introduce has won 2 state championships, 06-07 over Rockford and Livonia Stevenson. He will be the East All-Star head coach. I think the game was at Michigan State, moved to Central Michigan, and then now it's at Elma College. They went through in the football programs, last top 10 programs the last 5 years. They have us at number 10. I know East Grand Rapids is right up there near the top. In that, his record is 41-8 over the last 5 years. One of the best high school coaches in the state of Michigan. Mike Giannone, would you stand? Friends and former players here tonight, I'd like to thank Cliff Duncan, Al Gulick. Al's waiting for the Three Stooges, the movie, to come out April 13th. Tommy Kraus, Mr. Bill Listman Sr., Jeff Vitale, Tom Dameron, Chris Hull, Mark Malia, Phil Langford. Those are some of the people that are very supportive. A couple of my former football players, Rob Listman and Bill Listman, here tonight. Moving on to family. We can't do it without you. You know, it's supporting. We come in late at night and got to have things, you know, washed and food ready to go, and we thank all those families out there that do that, because we couldn't do what we do without you. I want to thank my sweetheart Carrie Lang, couldn't be here tonight. My brother Gary couldn't be here. He works for the Indoor Football League up in Saginaw for the Saginaw Sting. They've got a game tomorrow afternoon. My sister Tammy, who's down in Florida. I'd like to think of two people that passed away the last couple of years. My dad back in '97, and my grandparents Laverne and Francis Ewell. At this time, I'd like to introduce my family. My nephew Tim Erskine, would you please stand? My nephew Brendan Newvine, he's the starting quarterback at Notre Dame Prep. My niece Christy Beck and her husband Mike, would they please stand? Mike and Linda Dimony, please stand. And Alex Duvinko, where are you, Alex? Stand, please, thank you. Last but not least, I'd like to thank the lady that's put it all together for me all these years, and washed my uniforms and done all the things that needed to be done. My dad was a football coach for many, many, many years. He was my first football coach. And I'd like to thank my mom, Ann Newvine. She could stand. Thank you, Mother. In closing, I'd like to thank all of you for making this a wonderful evening for me and my family. Thank you, and good night.